I was born in Pasadena, California, and August 12th, 1923. I was the eldest of four, and I grew up in Pasadena. I lived in Pasadena until I was 18 and went active in the Navy, and never quite got back to Pasadena. So in the tour in the Navy, lived in Salem, Oregon for a while when I got out. My wife and I and our eldest son moved back to Southern California in Garden Grove, and we lived out our 66 years together there, three sons, and when my wife died, I moved to Eagan, Minnesota, which was where my youngest son was, and that's why I was there. Mm-hmm. And I learned to love Minnesota. I was ready to live out my days there. It was great, but then Paul moved to Bend because he could work from home, and so then I had to follow.
Of course.
And that's why I'm in Bend.
Okay.
And with Spring Winds. I did not, well, my dad was in the Army in 1918, but we were not a military family. One of the major memories is every summer my folks camped. They were great campers. Even my mom with four kids ultimately. We would travel 90 miles from Pasadena to Carpinteria, which was just south of Santa Barbara, and put up a tent and a canopy awning, and my dad went home working, and my mom stayed there with the kids, and we would spend a month or 6 weeks
camping
at the beach camping. Oh yeah, we've always been great beach people. So then as we grew up, we could walk to St. Elizabeth Parochial School, and that's where we did our grammar school, all four of us. And then I went to Cathedral High School in LA for 2 years, and then transferred to Pasadena Junior College in Pasadena. And
after just 2 years in high school.
2 years in the system in Pasadena at the time was a junior college was 2 years of high school.
Okay.
The last 2 years.
Okay.
Plus the first 2 years of college.
Okay.
So then I transferred there, and happily that's where I met Robin, who eventually became my wife, the pretty lady up there.
Beautiful lady.
Yeah. And we were lucky. We weren't lucky. We worked at it. Had 66 years together, 3 sons. Two here in Bend now, and one still in Southern California. My oldest son is 70 and he's retired, living here. The next boy down, 2 years younger, is a retired periodontist and still lives in Southern California. And then Paul, my youngest, who's 7 years younger, lives here in Bend. So that's the family. So we were great beach people. Every chance we got, we spent summers at the beach. Every chance we had, we would go to the beach. We were great body surfers. Didn't have a board, just body surfing, which was great fun. And one one exciting experience out of Carpinteria when we were up there. There was several families from Lundy Avenue in Pasadena went up to Carpinteria in the summertime. So we also had our next door neighbor family, the Kittles, were there. And one year, Jack, the oldest Kittle, had brought along a kind of a kayaky boat, a duck boat it was called, that a neighbor had built and he bought. And one day Don and I, we were about 3 months different from in age, but we decided we would take the boat out. And I don't know how we got it through the surf, but we did. And we were offshore paddling along, just having a great time. And our parents and Jack on the beach were having a canary because we were out there, no life jackets, just paddling along. And Jack finally swam out to the boat and pulled us in, and our great adventure ended. So anyhow, but
So you, at 18, you joined the military?
in 1942, I think I was 18, joined the Navy Reserve Officer Training Program, the V1 program, and I really had wanted to join the Coast Guard, but they had no officer training program. You had to go to the Coast Guard Academy, and that took some getting into. So I joined the Navy, and then for some reason, I never have figured it out, the Navy decided that apparently an officer should have a college degree. And so they activated us. There were about 50 of us from Pasadena Junior College that were in this program. And they activated us to St. Thomas College in St. Paul. So,
Really?
and ultimately, I was there for a year, 1943 to early 1944. And fortunately, we could take whatever classes we wanted there, except there were a couple of Navy-oriented classes. There were just 2 Navy officers, lieutenants, that were responsible for that group. And it was a mixed group from Kansas and wherever. And so I stayed there for a year. And the following June, I completed the program at St. Thomas and was ordered to the midshipman school at Northwestern University in Chicago. And we were there from June until November. And unfortunately, when I was at St. Thomas and going to midshipman school, Robin and I were sure I would get a month's leave on commissioning. And she had planned a wedding in Pasadena and had selected bride the whole stick. And then, as it turned out, I only got 4 days. And so she and her family and my mother came back to Chicago. I was commissioned in the morning, and we were married that afternoon. You couldn't be married and be in that officer training program. So,
But once you completed it, of course, it was all right.
oh, once you completed, yeah. Once you were commissioned, then you could do what you wanted. But so Robin was very disappointed that she didn't have her big wedding and so on. So, but we were married.